Welcome to episode 2 of Lightning Web Component series. In this episode, we'll look at how to set up the environment for developing Lightning Web Components in your local machine. So, in the previous episode, episode 1, we were discussing about what Lightning Web Components are, why we need Lightning Web Components, and where can we use Lightning Web Components, and some of the JavaScript standards. But in this episode, we'll just look at setting up the dev environment so you can start developing Lightning Web Components. So in order to do that, we have to follow certain steps. So the step 1 is installing VS Code, and we have to install Salesforce CLI and then create a Salesforce DX project in the VS Code, and then authorize the Salesforce org, whether it is the developer org or a sandbox. You can connect it to your VS Code project, and then we'll create a hello world Lightning Web component and deploy it to the org that we connected and see how it works in the org. So let's get started with the demo part. So first, let me install the VS Code editor and some of the extensions. So for doing that, I'll just go to the browser, open a new tab, and type VS Code download. So this takes me to a web page, code.visualstudio.com. So if I click on that, I'll click on the download link under Mac. So it's downloading the VS Code zip file. So if I just click on this, it will extract the zip file, and we can see the contents in downloads folder. So I can see the extracted Visual Studio Code. If I just click on that, it opens up the editor. I'll just click on open. So the VS Code just opened up. So now the next thing is we have to install the Salesforce extension pack. So for doing that, I'll just go and click on the extensions button here and then search for Salesforce extensions pack. So if I click on this, my previous install of VS Code already had this extension, so I think that's the reason it's showing that, but let me just uninstall and install it again. So I just installed the Salesforce extension pack, and so the next step is to install Salesforce CLI, so the Salesforce command line interface. So for doing that, I'll just go back to the browser again, open a new tab, and type Salesforce CLI. So I'll just click on the first link in the search results. So here I can just simply click on download for Mac OS. So this downloads a .package file, and if I just click on the .package file, so it opens up an installer, and I just go with the defaults and click continue, and I'll just click on install, and I'm just giving the password. So the installation is successful, and to see if the Salesforce CLI installed successfully, what you can do is you can just go to the terminal and just simply type sfdx --version. So it shows the Salesforce CLI version that got installed. So it installed 7.36.0. So after installing Salesforce CLI, the next step is to create a Salesforce DX project in VS Code. So for doing that, let me just go to the VS Code editor, and let me just go to the projects, and here, so what I want to do is I want to just create a Salesforce DX project. So for doing that, I just press Command Shift P, and if you're doing it in Windows, you can just do Control Shift P. So now here, if I just type sfdx : I can see different commands that I can do using Salesforce CLI. So here I'll just create a project with manifest, and I'll select the standard template, and I'll just select this as LWC demo. I'll just name it as LWC demo, and then I'll click enter, and it's asking me to select a directory where this project will get installed. So I'll just select in desktop, I just select this folder LWCSeries code and create project. So it just created a project, and you can see the folder structure and everything. So in the upcoming episodes we'll discuss more about what these folders contain, but for now, like in Force app, we can see these subdirectories which will contain the Salesforce artifacts, like the Aura components will be saved here, the Apex classes here, and the page layouts and Lightning Web components, and custom objects and standard objects, and so on and so forth, tabs, triggers, and so on. So the next step is we'll authorize a dev org with this Salesforce DX project. So for doing that, I'll just go back to VS Code, press the Command Shift P again, and now I'll just type sfdx, and you can see there is a authorize an org command. So if I just click on that, so it will ask us whether it's a sandbox or a production. So here I'm going to connect it with my dev org, so I'm just clicking on production, and we have to name an alias for this org. So I'm just naming it as sv dev org, pressing enter. So it opens up a browser window where you can log in with your dev org credentials, or if you are connecting to a sandbox, you can provide your sandbox credentials. So once you log into your org, you can go back to VS Code. You can see that org has been saved as alias like svdev org, and it's connected. So this Salesforce DX project is connected to the dev org that I just provided. So the next step is, so we have authorized the org. So we'll go ahead and create a simple Lightning Web component and deploy it to the org. So for doing that, we'll go to VS Code, press Command Shift P. If I type sfdx create lightning, it says create Lightning Web component, and here I'll enter the file name as helloLWCSeries. So I'm just pressing enter, and I'm selecting the default and pressing enter again. So it just created a hello LWCSeries component, and this component comprises of a HTML file, a JavaScript file, and a meta XML file. So let's not worry much about the details. So we'll discuss in the future episodes about all the details and all the customizations. So now what we'll do is we'll just simply put a paragraph tag and hello LWCSeries viewers and save this HTML. And one more thing you have to make sure is that before you develop any Lightning Web components, your org must have the my domain enabled. So like for example, in my org that I'm currently working on, it's already enabled, and if you haven't, you can just simply go to setup, type my domain in the quick find, and here you can set up a domain for your org. So you need that to develop the Lightning Web components. So now let's go back to the code. I just typed a paragraph within the HTML, and let's not worry about the JavaScript for now, and let's go to the meta XML. So in order to be able to use this Lightning Web component in the Lightning record page or app page in the org, we have to set this is exposed to true, and then we have to set the targets. So for doing that, let me just type targets and end this with another target, and in here just need to specify target lightning homepage and target lightning double underscore app page and target lightning underscore underscore record page. And this is needed if you want to use your Lightning component in either home page or app page or record page that you create using the Lightning app builder. But if you use in another Lightning Web component, you may not need to set all these things. So after you set these things, we'll just right click on the component in here, and we'll just say deploy source to org, and the Salesforce CLI is running the command So looks like it just deployed the new helloLWCSeries to the dev org that I set previously. So now we'll go back to the org, and in here I'll try to add the lightning web component in contact record page. So for doing that, I'll go to setup and I'll select lightning app builder. So I already have a contact record page that's created, so maybe let me create a new contact record page. So I need a record page, and I'm clicking on next, and I'm giving the label as contact record page for LWC demo, and the object is contact, and I'm clicking on next, and then I'm selecting the header and the right sidebar and clicking on finish. So in here I'll just add the hello world LWC that we just created. So if you scroll down, so under the custom components that are available, you can see hello LWCSeries that is deployed to the org. So I'm going to drag this and drop it in here, and I'll just save this. It is saved, and I'm going to activate this and assign it as the default to the contact object. So I'm just clicking on assign as org default, and I'm leaving it to desktop and next. So the new org default, it says the new org default is contact record page LWC demo that we just created. So I'm just going to save this. So I think it's done. So if I go back and if I click on the app menu, app launcher, and if I go to any particular contact, as you can see, it is showing the lightning web component that we just created, hello LWCSeries viewers. So this is just a quick demo on how we can create a lightning web component in VS Code and have that deployed to the dev org and use it in a lightning record page with a lightning app builder. So one thing that we missed in all the steps is we haven't still looked at the Prettier extension. So for doing that, let me just go back to code and see how the Prettier works. So for doing that, like let's say for example, I'm writing Prettier works with both HTML, JavaScript, or any kind of code. So let's say I'm adding more paragraph tags to this HTML. So let me just add paragraph. This is line 2, add another paragraph, this is line 3, and I'll add one more paragraph, this is line 4, but this is all not formatted in a proper way. So Prettier helps us in these kind of scenarios. So first let me install the extension. So for doing that, let me just go to extension and search for Prettier and just simply click on the install. So it just installs Prettier. So after doing that, we just need to go to settings by clicking the gear icon at the bottom left and click on settings, and in the search settings text box here just type format on save, and so you can see a checkbox here which is not checked by default, and just enable that format on save, and that's it. So just go back to the HTML and just simply press the save. You can see the magic that happens with Prettier. It takes care of the format of the code, so whether it could be in HTML or JavaScript. So that's about the Prettier. Thank you for watching this video. So in the next episode, I'll come up with creating a lightning web component. See you in the next episode.